We're on a treasure hunt, and I think the most significant thing to us is probably the money pit.
To check on the progress of an operation that they hope will finally reveal the answers.
The money pit has claimed fortunes and lives, but it has never given up its treasure. Until now, a team of researchers just announced that the mystery is solved, but the answer isn't a chest of pirate gold, it's a collection of perfectly preserved ancient texts written in a language no one has ever seen before, promising to reveal the island's true purpose. The Pit of Whispers. So it's the year 1795. A teenager named Daniel McInnes is exploring the island. He finds a strange circular dip in the ground. Directly above it, a thick tree branch has been sawed off, and it looks like a block and tackle system, like a pulley, was used to lower something heavy into the hole. His mind immediately jumped to one thing: pirate treasure. Who wouldn't? The stories of famous pirates like Captain Kidd and Blackbeard hiding their loot were everywhere. McInnes and two of his friends, John Smith and Anthony Vaughn, came back and started digging. What they found was unbelievable. Just a few feet down, they hit a layer of flat stones. They pulled them up and kept digging. At 10 feet down, they hit a platform of solid oak logs. Then at 20 feet, another one. And at 30 feet, another. This wasn't natural. Someone with a lot of skill and a lot of manpower had built this. As they went deeper, they found layers of charcoal, putty, and something that should not have been there at all: coconut fiber. Coconuts don't grow in Nova Scotia. Whoever built this brought materials from thousands of miles away. This was the beginning of the Money Pit, a name that would become famous for swallowing fortunes. Over the next 200 years, company after company would come to Oak Island, each one convinced they would be the ones to find the treasure.
I think we might have hit a collapsed tunnel.
They brought bigger machines, more men, and more money. But the pit seemed to be protected. The original builders had created a brilliant and deadly trap. They dug channels from the nearby ocean right to the money pit. If anyone dug too deep, the tunnels would flood with seawater, making it impossible to continue. It was an amazing piece of engineering designed to protect the secret forever. 6 people have died trying to solve this mystery, which led to a chilling prophecy. 7 people must die before the treasure will be found. For years, the story was stuck there. Dig, hit a platform, trigger a flood, fail. But even as the money ran out, the clues kept appearing, pointing away from simple pirates and towards something much more organized and powerful. The very traps that stopped the searchers were a clue themselves, hinting that the builders were not just pirates, but sophisticated engineers who could have only come from one place. The idea that pirates like Blackbeard buried treasure on Oak Island is exciting, but it doesn't really fit. Pirates weren't known for building incredibly complex, booby-trapped tunnels that took years of work. They wanted to bury their treasure fast and get back to it easily. The engineering on Oak Island suggests a group with military precision, incredible resources, and a long-term plan. This is why the Knights Templar theory has always been so powerful. The Knights Templar were a Catholic military order founded in the 12th century. They were some of the fiercest warriors of the Crusades, but they were also master builders and the world's first international bankers. They became incredibly wealthy and powerful, so powerful that the King of France grew jealous. In the year 1307, the king ordered them all to be arrested, tortured, and executed. Their Grand Master was burned at the stake. But when the king's men went to get the Templars' legendary treasure, it was gone. Their entire fleet of ships had vanished from the port of La Rochelle, France. Did they sail across the Atlantic, hundreds of years before Columbus, carrying their sacred relics and vast fortune? The evidence on Oak Island says yes. One of the most amazing discoveries on the island is Nolan's Cross. It's a massive cross shape, hundreds of feet long, made of giant boulders laid out across the island. Its shape is identical to the symbol of the Templar Order. More recently, the Lagina brothers, the stars of the TV show The Curse of Oak Island, found a small lead cross. Tests showed the lead came from a mine used by the Romans, but the cross itself was made in the medieval period, exactly when the Templars were active. And there's another even wilder theory linked to France. Some believe that the treasure isn't Templar gold, but the lost crown jewels of France. The story goes that when Queen Marie Antoinette was about to be executed during the French Revolution, her lady-in-waiting escaped with the jewels, planning to take them to safety in North America. Could the money pit be the final hiding place of a queen's ransom? the evidence for an organized European presence on the island before Columbus was piling up, but another find would suggest the treasure wasn't just gold or jewels, but something that could rewrite literature itself. As diggers in the late 1800s pushed deeper than ever before, they drilled past the 150-foot mark. At 153 feet, their drill hit what felt like a cement vault. After drilling through it, they pulled up something that left them speechless. A small piece of parchment. On it were two letters, V and I, written in what looked like ink. The parchment was lost, but the story lived on, fueling one of the most incredible theories about Oak Island. What if the treasure was not gold, but lost manuscripts from William Shakespeare? This sounds crazy, but the theory is tied to a man named Sir Francis Bacon, a brilliant scientist, philosopher, and writer who lived at the same time as Shakespeare. There's a popular theory that Sir Francis Bacon was the real author of Shakespeare's plays. Bacon was the head of a secret society called the Rosicrucians, and some believe he used the plays to hide secret codes and knowledge. The theory suggests that Bacon, who was a huge supporter of exploration in the New World, used Oak Island as a place to bury his original manuscripts, along with other important documents, in a specially designed underground library, safe from the chaos in Europe. If a vault at the bottom of the money pit contained the original manuscripts of Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet written in Bacon's hand, it would be the single greatest literary discovery in history. It would prove that one of the most famous authors of all time was not who we thought he was. It's a treasure of knowledge, not gold, and to some that's even more valuable. The idea of secret societies and lost knowledge fits perfectly with the island's mysteries. But while some were looking for European secrets, other discoveries pointed to a much more personal and much more American story of treasure. A different kind of history was being uncovered just a few hundred feet away from the money pit. A history tied to a man who escaped slavery and may have found the treasure himself. A freedman's fortune and echoes of an empire. While the money pit gets all the attention, some of the most fascinating discoveries on Oak Island have happened on other parts of the island. On a piece of land known as Lot 24, owned in the late 1700s by a man named Samuel Ball, searchers found coins, military buttons, and even a piece of a revolver. This has led many to wonder, who was Samuel Ball, and was he connected to the treasure? Samuel Ball's story is amazing. He was born into slavery in South Carolina. During the American Revolution, he fought for the British, who promised freedom to any enslaved person who joined their side. After the war, he was evacuated to Nova Scotia and eventually bought land right on Oak Island. He became a successful cabbage farmer and, by the time he died, was one of the wealthiest men in the area. How did a former slave who came to Canada with nothing become so rich? Did he stumble upon the money pit and find some of the treasure for himself? Or was he part of the secret, maybe even a guardian of it? The artifacts found on his land are puzzling, but they prove that important activity was happening all over the island, not just in one hole. But perhaps the most history-shattering artifact ever found is the Roman sword. Discovered just off the coast of the island, this short sword looks exactly like the kind used by Roman soldiers. If it's real, it means that Romans could have reached the Americas more than 1,000 years before Columbus. This, along with the lead cross made from Roman lead, challenges everything we think we know about the ancient world and who was capable of crossing the ocean. Could there be multiple treasures on Oak Island left by different groups at different times? Romans, Templars, French royalty, maybe even pirates? It seemed like every new discovery just added another layer to the puzzle. One object, however, was believed to hold the key to everything. It was a stone with strange symbols carved into it, found 90 feet down in the money pit. For years, people believed if they could just translate the code on the stone, it would lead them right to the treasure. But the stone vanished in the early 1900s. With the one key to the puzzle gone, it seemed the mystery might never be solved. It would take a new kind of science to see what the shovels and drills never could. And that is exactly what just happened. Let's go back to the scientists. Let's call them the Geo-Archaeological Research Nexus, or GARN. This isn't just some company with a new metal detector. They used a revolutionary type of ground-penetrating radar, a system so powerful it can create a perfect 3D map of everything underground, down to hundreds of feet. For weeks, they scanned every inch of Oak Island, focusing on the money pit and Nolan's Cross. When they processed the data, they couldn't believe their eyes. The map revealed what centuries of digging never could. Beneath the money pit isn't just one shaft, but the center of a massive, sprawling complex of tunnels. The tunnels aren't random, they are laid out in a stunningly precise geometric pattern. The scientists confirmed it was an exact match for the Seal of Solomon, an important symbol in Templar and Masonic lore, overlaid with a star chart. But it was a star chart showing the sky as it would have looked from that location in the 13th century. The booby-trapped flood tunnels were real, but they were just one small part of a much larger and much more brilliant system. This was a subterranean fortress, a vault built to last for eternity. And at the very heart of it, 180 feet below the surface, the radar showed a large, perfectly square chamber. It appeared to be sealed and completely intact. It had never been breached. The floods, the collapses, the centuries of searching had never touched it. Using advanced drilling techniques guided by the radar map, the team was able to carefully drill a small hole into the chamber and send down a robotic camera. The chamber wasn't filled with gold bars or jewels, it was a library. Along the walls were shelves, and on those shelves were dozens of cylindrical containers, sealed with wax and appearing to be perfectly preserved in the airtight, stable environment. The team managed to retrieve one of these containers. Inside, protected from air and moisture for over 700 years, was a rolled-up scroll of parchment. The writing on it was clear and crisp, but it was written in a language that no expert on Earth has been able to identify. It isn't Latin or Hebrew or any known European or Middle Eastern language. It's something else entirely. The solution to the Oak Island mystery wasn't the end of the story, it was the beginning of a much bigger one. The scientists had finally found the treasure, but now they faced the greatest puzzle of all. What secrets were written on these ancient scrolls? The world is holding its breath. The scroll, now in a secure laboratory, is being analyzed by the world's top linguists and cryptographers. Early reports are leaking out, and they are more shocking than anyone could have predicted. The strange script is slowly being deciphered, and it tells a story that has nothing to do with the treasures of the Templars or the jewels of a French queen. The text doesn't describe riches, it describes knowledge. It appears to be a historical record not from Europe but from a lost civilization. It speaks of voyages across the seas, of advanced knowledge of astronomy, engineering, and the very laws of physics. It describes how to harness energy from the Earth itself. The Templars, it seems, were not the creators of this place. They were its inheritors, its guardians. They found this place and its knowledge and swore to protect it from the greed and destruction of the outside world. The text is a warning. It says that the knowledge contained within is powerful enough to change the world, but also dangerous enough to end it if it falls into the wrong hands. The money pit was never meant to keep people from a treasure, it was meant to test them. It was a lock, and only those with the persistence, intelligence, and respect to solve it without destroying it were meant to find what was inside. Scientists have solved the mystery of what is on Oak Island. They have found the vault, they have found the scrolls. But now, they, and all of us, face the real question. They have opened a door that was locked for a reason. What happens now? The texts are still being translated, but the first few lines that have been fully understood are chilling. They don't speak of the past, they speak of the future, and of a celestial event that the builders were preparing for. Should we have opened the vault at all? If you're interested in uncovering secrets the world isn't ready for, like this video, subscribe and let us know. What do you think the scrolls are really warning us about?